what about ancient genomes, which is another area where you've done work? How can the study of ancient genomes inform our understanding of polygenic scores and
Yeah, ancient
comparisons?
genomes are a very fascinating area because, first of all, because it's a new field which is like growing very rapidly, and second, it's also um, very powerful because um, it enables us to track how humans have evolved directly without relying on comparing modern populations. So we can actually measure the polygenic scores of ancient DNA of different historical or prehistorical periods and compare them to different to us or to modern contemporary humans or other periods. And the main finding is that humans, the psychological attributes of humans have changed much more than the standard textbook anthropology 101 holds. So, like anthropology students at university are taught that human cognitive abilities peaked with anatomically modern humans in Africa 100,000 years ago, and then all the subsequent cultural evolution, the manufacturing of tools, the invention of the discovery of the fire, the invention of the wheel, writing, and so on, agriculture, they were all due to simple cultural evolution. But the polygenic score showed that this probably was not the case because humans of the Stone Age had like a true standard deviation lower IQ and educational attainment polygenic scores than us. So they were also more primitive in terms of cognition, not
So,
just because of cultural reasons.
so yeah, that seems to strongly suggest that there has been selection in favor of higher intelligence in Europeans because the finding you just mentioned refers to Europeans or at least West Eurasians, if I remember
Also in
correctly.
East Asia, because I replicated this also in East Asia.
So we now have evidence that average polygenic scores have risen in both Europeans and East Asians. So to deal with that, someone like Gusev would presumably have to either quibble with the statistics or assert that the same trend has also occurred in Africa, even though we don't have that data yet.
Yes, exactly.
So you're predicting
But
that when the African data comes along, as it eventually presumably will, the any change in the average polygenic score between several thousand years ago and now will be much smaller than it is in Europe and East Asia.
exactly. But even if you disagree with me, even if you say we don't know, you still have to. It still becomes very unlikely that populations that have been evolved separately for 50,000 years have had exactly the same uh, trend in this polygenic scores. It's very statistically very unlikely that the polygenic scores increase by the same amount, exactly the same amount over 50,000 years, right?
But your hypothesis would require that they have increased by substantially different amounts, namely much more in Europeans and East Asians than in Africans.
Yes.
I.e., so someone like Gusev could presumably say, okay, the exact amount of increase is not identical, but it's pretty similar. And you're saying, no, it's actually quite different.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Is there enough DNA preserved from Africa from several thousand years ago or 10,000 years ago in order to conduct an ancient genome analysis there of the kind that has been done for Europe and East Asia?
No, maybe there is, but it has not been sequenced yet.
Because I know that
So we don't have
factors
that.
like temperature affect the quality of the DNA and how much it decays over time, right?
Yes, but also the labs are probably not they don't have enough funding
Yeah.
there to the universities and the labs in Africa. They probably don't have enough um, funding to do that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if big Western labs are going over there to collect data like David Reich's lab at Harvard.
I don't know. I know that they started doing. They are doing that in the Middle East. They're doing that in the Americas. So I mean, if they've done that also in the pretty warm, hot places like Indonesia, Southeast Asia. So I think it should be possible to do that in Africa
Yeah,
as well.
you need to find caves with old bone fragments and things like that, don't you?
Yeah.